My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm 28 years old, born and raised in Portland, Oregon, a city where rain feels less like weather and more like a personality trait. I used to think my life was predictable. Work hard, stay quiet, avoid complicated people. That was the rule I lived by after my last relationship ended badly enough to teach me that love could rearrange you in ways you don't recover from quickly. This is the story I've never told anyone. I call it, I was fixing her fence when she said, "You're not like other guys." It started on a Saturday morning that smelled like wet wood and fresh soil. I worked for a small property maintenance company then, nothing glamorous. Fixing decks, repairing fences, patching roofs people ignored until they couldn't anymore. Honest work, quiet work, the kind where you didn't have to explain yourself. My boss handed me the address scribbled on a sticky note. Simple fence repair, he said. Client sounded particular. I didn't think much of it until I saw her. The house sat at the end of a narrow street lined with maple trees just beginning to turn orange. Not fancy, but carefully kept, like someone was trying hard to hold life together piece by piece. She opened the door before I even knocked. Dark hair pulled loosely back, oversized gray sweater, bare feet against the wooden porch despite the cold. "Daniel?" she asked softly. "Yeah, fence repair." She nodded, studying me longer than most clients did. Not flirtatious, just observant, like she was trying to solve a puzzle. "I'm Emily," she said. "It's in the backyard." Her voice carried exhaustion underneath politeness, the kind you recognize only if you felt it yourself. The fence had collapsed along one side, boards splintered outward as if something had pushed hard from the inside. While I worked, I noticed small details. A child's abandoned soccer ball near the garden, wind chimes tangled together, a second coffee mug left on the patio table but untouched. Someone used to sit there. Halfway through replacing the posts, she came outside holding 2 cups. "I didn't know how you take it," she said, handing one over. "So medium risk. Milk, 1 sugar." I laughed lightly. "Medium risk works." She watched me work for a moment before speaking again. "My ex tried fixing it," she said, nodding toward the fence. "Made it worse." There was no bitterness in her tone, just fatigue. "Happens," I replied. "Some things look easier than they are." She smiled faintly at that, like the sentence meant more than fences. We talked casually at first. Weather, neighborhood complaints, my job, her work. She managed operations at a healthcare administration office downtown. Long hours, too many responsibilities. But conversation with her felt strangely effortless, dangerous in its comfort. At one point, the drill slipped from my hand, and she instinctively stepped closer, concern flashing across her face. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just clumsy." She hesitated, then said quietly, "You're not like other guys." The sentence landed heavier than it should have. I shrugged. "You don't know me." She looked directly into my eyes then. Really looked. "I think I do," she said. "At least a little." Something about the way she said it unsettled me. Not romantic. Certain. Later, while setting the final plank, I noticed bruised tension in the air. The subtle way she kept checking her phone but never opening messages. The way her shoulders tightened whenever a car passed outside the house. "Everything okay?" I asked. She forced a smile. "Yeah, just complicated." That word lingered between us. As I packed my tools, a black SUV slowed in front of the house. Emily froze. Not nervous, terrified. The vehicle idled for several seconds before driving away. She exhaled shakily, realizing I had noticed. "That your husband?" I asked gently. Her expression darkened. "Ex," she said. Then after a pause, "He doesn't like change." A chill ran through me, though I couldn't explain why. I handed her the invoice, but she barely looked at it. "Will you come back if something else breaks?" she asked. The question felt bigger than maintenance work. I nodded anyway. "Yeah, just call." As I walked toward my truck, I felt her watching me. Not the way clients usually do, but like someone standing at the edge of a decision they weren't ready to make. I didn't know then that fixing that fence was the least complicated part of what I had just stepped into. Because 3 days later, she called again, and her voice was shaking. "Daniel," she whispered, "I think I made a mistake." Her voice didn't sound like the woman who had calmly handed me coffee 3 days earlier. It sounded smaller, fractured. "Are you safe?" I asked immediately, already grabbing my keys without realizing it. There was a pause on the line, the kind filled with breathing instead of words. "I don't know," Emily whispered. That was enough. I drove across Portland faster than I should have, windshield wipers fighting steady rain. My brain kept trying to rationalize what I was doing. She was a client, barely a stranger. Not my responsibility, but something deeper pushed back. You heard fear, and once you recognize real fear, you can't pretend you didn't. When I arrived, the porch light was off. The house looked darker than before, like warmth had quietly moved out. Emily opened the door before I knocked again. Her eyes were red, not from crying recently, from crying for hours. "Sorry," she said quickly. "I shouldn't have called. I just didn't know who else would come." Inside, the house felt tense, air thick with unfinished arguments. Papers were scattered across the dining table. Legal documents, custody forms, highlighted paragraphs. "Daniel," she said carefully, "my ex-husband, Mark, he thinks I'm trying to take our son away." "You're not." "No," she said immediately. "I'm trying to protect him." She explained in fragments. Mark had been showing up unexpectedly, calling late at night, saying things that sounded harmless until you listened closely enough to hear control underneath. "He hates that I'm doing things alone now," she said. "New job position, fixing the house, even hiring you." I frowned. "Me?" She nodded. "He asked who helped with the fence. Said I shouldn't need strangers." The word strangers lingered uncomfortably. Before I could respond, headlights flashed through the window. Emily stiffened. A car door slammed outside. My stomach dropped. "That's him," she whispered. Knocking followed, slow, deliberate, confident. Not asking permission, announcing presence. Emily's hands trembled. "Just stay calm." She opened the door slightly. Mark stood there, tall, clean-cut, the kind of man who looked respectable enough that people would never question him. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Well," he said, noticing me immediately. "Didn't realize maintenance came with company." "I was just leaving," I said evenly. Mark stepped closer, blocking part of the doorway. "You fix fences?" he asked. Among other things. His gaze lingered too long, measuring me. Emily spoke firmly. "Mark, you need to call before coming. I'm allowed to see my family." "You mean your son?" she corrected quietly. Something sharp flickered across his face before the polite mask returned. "I worry about you," he said, eyes still on me. "You trust people too easily." The implication was clear. After a tense silence, he finally stepped back. "See you soon," he said softly to Emily, but it sounded less like reassurance and more like a promise. When his car disappeared, Emily shut the door and locked it twice. Her composure cracked instantly. "I thought leaving would make things peaceful," she said, voice breaking. "But he just adapts." I didn't know what to say. I wasn't a hero, just a guy who fixed broken things made of wood and metal. But standing there, watching her try so hard to stay strong, something shifted inside me. Not attraction exactly. Recognition. The same exhaustion I'd carried after my own past, trying to rebuild while someone else refused to let the story end. "Why call me?" I asked gently. She hesitated, searching for the truth. "Because," she said finally, "you don't look at me like I'm fragile or stupid for staying as long as I did." Her honesty hit harder than any confession. We sat at the kitchen table talking for hours, about work pressures, failed expectations, families that loved imperfectly. She told me about balancing promotions with motherhood, about feeling judged at work for leaving early to pick up her son. I told her about my father walking out when I was 15, about learning independence too young. Somewhere between midnight and silence, the distance between stranger and something else disappeared. As I stood to leave, she walked me to the door. Rain tapped softly against the roof. "Thank you for coming," she said. I nodded. "You don't have to handle everything alone." She looked at me for a long moment, vulnerable, conflicted. Then quietly, "You make things feel safe." The words should have felt good. Instead, they scared me. Because safety creates attachment, and attachment creates stakes. I drove home telling myself this was temporary, that I was just helping someone through a difficult time. But the next morning, my boss called me into his office. "We lost the downtown hospital contract," he said grimly. "Budget cuts. I've got to reduce hours." My paycheck, already thin, was about to shrink. And that same afternoon, Emily texted, "Can you come by again? Something's wrong." I didn't know yet that this time, it wouldn't just be fear waiting for me. It would be a choice that would change both our lives. By the time I reached Emily's house again, dusk had already settled over the neighborhood, turning everything gray and uncertain. Her front door was open. Not wide, just enough to make my chest tighten. Emily, I called as I stepped inside. The house was quiet, but not peaceful. The kind of quiet that feels disturbed, like a room still remembering raised voices. A chair near the dining table had been knocked sideways. Papers from before were scattered across the floor. Then I heard her in the kitchen. "I'm here," she said quickly. Relief hit me first, then concern. Her expression looked steadier than before, but emotionally drained, like someone who had finally reached the end of resisting something inevitable. "He came earlier," she said. "Mark, he didn't yell? That's the worst part," she continued. "He was calm. Said maybe we should try again for our son's sake." And she swallowed. I almost believed him. We stood there in silence. Outside, rain started again, soft at first, then heavier, filling the pauses between words. "I realized something after you left the other night," she said quietly. "I've spent years confusing familiarity with safety." Her eyes lifted to mine, and when things finally felt safe, it scared me more. I didn't respond right away, because I understood exactly what she meant. Real peace can feel foreign when chaos has been normal for too long. "What's wrong now?" I asked gently. She hesitated, then handed me her phone. A message from Mark glowed on the screen. "You think strangers can protect you? They always leave." My jaw tightened. "He watches the house," she said softly. "Not always. Just enough to remind me he can." Anger rose in me. Not loud or reckless, but steady. Protective. "We should call someone," I said. "Police. Lawyer. Someone official." "I already did," she replied. "Restraining order paperwork started today." I exhaled slowly, proud of her without saying it. But then she added, "I didn't call you because of him this time." I looked up. "Then why?" Her voice softened. "Because tomorrow I accept a promotion in Seattle." The words landed unexpectedly. "They want me there next week," she continued. "New role, better environment, fresh start for me and my son." 1,000 thoughts rushed through me at once. Happiness for her, selfish disappointment, confusion I didn't want to name. "That's good," I said, though it came out quieter than intended. She nodded, but her eyes searched mine carefully. "I needed to tell you in person," she said, "because meeting you changed something for me." I felt my chest tighten. "You reminded me I'm allowed to feel calm around someone," she said. "No walking on eggshells. No proving my worth every second." She stepped closer. "And I don't know what this is between us, but I know it's real." The space between us filled with everything unspoken over the past weeks. Late-night conversations, shared silences, the fragile trust that had grown without permission. "I don't want to be another person who leaves," I said quietly. She smiled sadly. "Sometimes leaving is how you survive." We stood on the porch together, rain cooling the evening air. The repaired fence stretched along the yard behind us, straight, steady, stronger than before. "I kept thinking about that day," she said. "When you fixed it." "The fence." She nodded. "It broke because pressure kept building from one side. No one noticed until it collapsed." I understood the metaphor immediately. Relationships, families, people. "I spent years holding things up alone," she continued. "You didn't fix my life, Daniel, but you showed me it could be rebuilt differently." For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she hugged me. Not urgently, not romantically desperate, just deeply human. The kind of embrace that says thank you for seeing me when I didn't recognize myself. When she pulled away, her eyes were wet but peaceful. "Maybe timing matters more than feelings," she said softly. "Maybe," I agreed. The next morning, her house was quiet again. A moving truck stood outside as I drove past on my way to work. I didn't stop. Some goodbyes are kinder from a distance. Weeks turned into months. My hours at work stabilized. Life returned to routine, but something inside me had shifted permanently. I stopped confusing strength with emotional distance. Stopped believing helping someone meant losing yourself. One evening, nearly a year later, a postcard arrived. Seattle skyline, rainy streets. On the back, in familiar handwriting, "You were right. Some things are stronger after they're rebuilt. Thank you for being different." No phone number, no promise, just gratitude. And strangely, that was enough. Because here's what I learned. Something no one tells you when you're young. Love isn't always about who stays forever. Sometimes it's about who arrives exactly when you need proof that kindness still exists. Some people don't enter your life to become your ending. They come to change your direction. And if I'm honest, fixing her fence didn't just repair her boundary. It repaired something in me too, the belief that connection, even temporary, can leave you stronger than loneliness ever could. That's the story I never told anyone. Until now.